with the recording. We are recording right now. Great. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Coach Ben Price. I am many things, and I will tell you more about that later. But for now, the things that perhaps you might like to know is that I have been a military intelligence soldier deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And actually, the reason I bring this up is not is to tell you that before this, I was actually too overweight to join the army. So not many people realize that. I used to smoke, and the army told me, no, you got to go away and you got to lose some weight. You're too fat. So been there in the overweightness and in the kind of shame around that as well. And so I went away. I did lose some weight. Really, just did the classic kind of stop eating bread and run more. That was pretty much all I did, and it did work for me. But I didn't really keep it off, and I just I scraped in, and I scraped through all of the assessments and tests that I ever needed to do, and I was always kind of a bit at the back of the pack. I was not always the fine specimen and athlete that you see before you now. It took a lot of work and a lot of failures. So, um, so yeah, so that's a bit about how I actually got into the army. And I was in the intelligence corps. I then ended up kind of working with special forces and the Gurkhas and military IED specialisms and things like that. So, not that that's too relevant. The relevance is probably that whilst I was away on tour, those were fantastic opportunities to learn, and I had a lot of injuries in my body, so I got to spend a lot of time learning about how my body was working and how I could overcome those injuries and repair myself. And then I ended up coaching a lot of other people, a lot of mates, and that's kind of what led me into the next bit, which was where I left and built a gym. And I did over 300, I reckon, transformations similar to this. That there is a 6 week transformation. In fact, I think those three top ones are 6 weeks. So you can see what is possible in 6 weeks. It really is amazing once you start knuckling down and doing the work, what is possible. And then these ones here, this was a back pain transformation, and then these two are more like a 1 year, process. This lady lost 4 stone. Rachel there, she lost 11.5% body fat. So this is 25 kilos of fat loss, really, which is pretty incredible. And also, what comes with that fat loss is just the transformation of everything else. And I'll explain more about that in a minute. I also did a Ironman triathlon in 2021 or two, which is one of those events that's just fucking hard. And I always thought if I could ever do that, then that'd be amazing. And I always was quite inspired by the Ironman. So if you don't know what it is, it's a 4 kilometer swim and then a 180 kilometer bike ride, which is 100 miles, and then a marathon afterwards. And I was incredibly fit at that point, obviously. And I really had to nail everything that I'm about to speak about to the nth degree, because you had to really balance your training with recovery, and you had to pay attention to your nutrition and everything. Um, and I did okay. Like I had a decent time. I was fairly happy with it. I did actually carry an injury, but one of the things that I really wanted to do when I did the Ironman was to do it. I wanted to inspire my members at the gym at the time, and I wanted to do it in a way where I didn't screw myself over in the long term. So whilst I had an injury, I didn't want to overtrain to the point where that injury was going to affect me for the rest of my life. So that's where all of the other components of what we're going to talk about today, well-being, came in to balance all of that. And I didn't actually run 8 weeks prior to doing the event, so because I had to manage this injury. So that's about me. And then what I do now is helping ultra ambitious entrepreneurs win the war in their minds. And the reason it's come to this point is really because of everything that's happened before and delving into the world, particularly around nutrition and exercise, and then coming up really at psychology and how the brain works. And the war in the mind is kind of the procrastination, the indecision, the why we kind of know a lot of this stuff, but we don't actually do it. Um, Give me a thumbs up if that sounds relevant to anyone. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to spend too much time actually just teach. There's not really much point in me just teaching you the theory of nutrition. We can talk about it a bit. If you've got any questions, you can always ask. But all that information is out there, and you can go and look it up. And I've given it all to you in a PDF. So there's not really much point in me just regurgitating that. What I think is the most useful thing is understanding the war in the mind and how you can win that war, because then you have the peace. And when you're operating from peace, you operate from a much more powerful place. And you're all entrepreneurs anyway. So this, whilst I sold you the ultimate energy edge just to get you in the room here, really we're going to talk about who you're being and how that is specifically works in nutrition, and everything else. So the sessions are going to work. So Ben has been on one of my camps where I talk about this. This is a safe space, even though we're not meeting in person. And that means you can be honest. And when you can be honest about what you're actually experiencing, then you can start to win the war in your mind, because you can't do this if you're still trying to pretend to be someone or something that you're not. So you have to just be honest about where you are actually at now. Safe means silence, 3 second rule. So this is a way of communicating with another person. So if when we unmute and we start talking, just acknowledge what somebody has said. Um, Let it sit like silence. Let it sit and register within you. Acknowledge what they've said. Frame and feel is how do you imagine they feel about this, or how does it relate to what we're talking about? And then explore means ask another question um, around what they're talking about, rather than what, especially guys, we end up in like Tenerife, 11 Reef, where we like go, oh yeah, and I've been to 11 Reef and I've been to 12 Reef, and it's just like it's always coming back to me. That's kind of level one listening is like, how does it relate to me? Level two is how does it relate to the other person? Level three is how does it relate to them and what did they not say? And then that's really like thinking about your intuition. You probably won't need that too much, but I like to throw it into everything that I do. If you are going to give advice to anybody, that's great, and I really appreciate it. And sometimes it's better than the advice I would give. But always do it in the frame of what worked for me. So what worked for you? Because actually, truth is, um, what's working for you may not work for them. So if you tell them, and also no one likes to receive like should advice, if you know what I mean. In is it don't should on yourself. That's the one of the things I picked up recently. And we're always going to have a positive start and check in on our state of being every time we do these sessions. If you have an issue, I want to hear them, but I don't want you to go off on a right tangent. So one of the things that I learned from EOS, which is a business kind of operating system, is you only have 3 to 5 words to articulate your issue. Okay. And my ethos, which are going to underpin everything all the time, and I want you to get this into you because it will be really useful, is integrity. Integrity means being a word and delivering on your word. Means being true to who you really are and being authentic to who you are. Radical ownership is going to be really important for this whole thing, which is you are ultimately responsible for what you are doing, and to not blame any external, take ownership, don't make excuses, that kind of thing. Accountability is not necessarily me keeping you accountable, but you keeping yourself accountable by turning up for these calls and using your checklists, tracking. I think that's been really useful for me personally. And so that's you keeping yourself accountable. And if you are way off track, it's okay, but come and talk to me and drop me a voice note and get back on track. And then courage means just having the courage to step into stuff which is uncomfortable. If you would like to unmute yourself now and give me any reflections that you've got so far, and if you haven't got anything, just introduce yourself to the group. Elise, would you like to go first?
No, but I will.
Well, no, otherwise I'm going to sit there in silence.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Elise. I actually got started on this in what might be a little bit earlier than others, just
Good.
because I had a call with Ben a couple of weeks ago. So I've been doing this for about 8 days now, and feeling good. My sugar reduction has gone down drastically. I mean, at the moment it's gone down 100%. So
Amazing.
that's very good. So far so good, and clothes are getting looser as well. So that's a bonus.
In 8 days.
Mm.
Nice. What do you, any reflections on what I've just said? Anything that resonated there?
Um, I struggle to say anything in 3 to 5 words.
Mm.
So I'm always trying to be more concise. So that is something that will help me.
It's so useful. And also, if you have a team, by the way, this is amazing. Like, because I had a team when I had the gym, and when we had to have our issues in 3 to 5 words, so I'd keep a list. So as they crop up, just go, try and get your issue, and I'll keep them on the list, and then we do it at the end. Because when you're in a team meeting and some issue just suddenly takes over the whole freaking thing, and then you
Mm.
haven't done half the stuff you were hoping to do. So, yeah, this is great. This is a great thing. All right, cheers, Elise. Um, Ben, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Hey everybody. I say my name's Ben. So Ben and I met maybe 6 months ago at an event. I was actually interviewing for a job at NatWest, and Ben was at one of their kind of accelerator events. And then, as I say, Ben said I went to one of his camps a few weeks ago. I think for me, yeah, I think I've been off and on. Like it's been basically every year. It's like this is the year I'm going to get in really good shape. Like this is the year I'm going to get the six pack, and I can kind of nail it for a few weeks, a month, 6 weeks, and then I kind of fall off the bandwagon and then start again. So I've had lots of false starts. So for me, it's like consistency. I think maybe also my relationship with food not brilliant. So it's something around like comfort eating when I'm stressed or unhappy or what have you. Um, so yeah, I think this level of accountability and structure, I think would be super helpful for me. And being on the journey with you all, I think would be super useful.
Nice. Cheers, Ben. Great. Thanks for that. Ollie, you're up next.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so I relate quite heavily to what Ben just said about the relatability, about the accountability and structure. I'm quite heavily diabetic. I mean, I'm very, very insulin resistant, and I've been put forward for a pancreatic operation, which I'm quite keen to avoid because nobody likes being chased around by a man with a scalpel. So part of this is about sort of transformation of kind of mind and body, and part of this is about kind of putting the diabetes into remission and that sort of thing, and trying to avoid kind of what is a significant surgery and kind of recovery period from that. And I'm looking forward to kind of having that accountability, having that structure, having that kind of alignment with what everyone else is doing. And I've enjoyed using Little Benji Coach as well. I can't remember is it Little Benji? I can't remember his full name.
That's fine. We can go with that.
Yeah.
AI
So
Benji is what I call him.
AI Benji. There you go.
Yeah.
But yes, that's me. Thank you.
Great. Cheers, Ollie. And Sarah?
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I know Ben through Nick James's mastermind. I have done this kind of thing before and it's worked for me. And I definitely need the accountability and the structure. I need to have something to follow. If I'm left to my own devices, then I kind of half do it. So I think the structure around it and like telling me exactly how many carbs, proteins and fats I've got to eat every day will help me stay on track. Definitely.
Mm.
And I've been doing it I started on Tuesday. So this is my second day. I've lost £3 already.
There
So
you go.
yeah, and I
Nice.
haven't done it 100%. I've done it like maybe like 80%. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's something that is quite key actually, is to don't be a perfectionist about this at all. Like, well, not at all, but just don't go into that 100%. It needs to be perfect, because it really doesn't. You need to be directionally correct a lot of the time on this, and as long as you are directionally correct, you've got that wiggle room for, oh, I'm going to a mastermind and I can't, and I've eaten something which is not on the plan. So it's more the stuff that's happening most of the time that matters, as with most things, right? But yeah, thanks for that. That was great. So consistency, relationships with food, accountability. Ollie, you said something that it just reminded me of something that I heard the other day, which was things that really create changes in our beliefs and our thinking. There's two really effective things. One is the intensity of the experience. So when Ben came onto the camp, it's an intense experience. It's like we're having quite intense conversations. Well, not intense, but they're more intense than most conversations, shall we say? To me, they're not intense. They're just normal conversations to me. But yeah, Ben, you can probably say that they're fairly intense. And then the other thing that obviously Ollie, what you've had is a shock. You've had a surprise. So shocks and surprise, like you're like, fuck, I've got this bloody potentially going into this operation. That's a shock and a surprise, I imagine, for you, and that can create the behavioural change. So I might surprise you, I don't know, but probably more likely that we're just gonna have the intense. Needs to be an intense sort of conversation and deep conversation for it to create change. But yeah, I just wanted to reflect on that. Okay, let's see if this Menti works then. Okay, yeah, so winning the war in your mind. What the hell does that mean? Okay, so it means there's three things. I like threes. Threes are simple. I can remember three things. The first thing that I figured out is to stop giving yourself friendly fire. And that means friendly fire on yourself, in your mind, beating yourself up. I think we all kind of know that. Does everyone kind of know that that's something that's not useful? Yeah, but we do it anyway. And we'll talk about why we do it anyway in a sec. It means stop friendly fire on yourself and your teammates. And like your teammates really are everybody, because we all evolved from the same single cell organism billions of years ago. So stop friendly fire is the first weapon to winning the war in your mind. It just makes life a lot lighter. In the event you're human, you need the second one, and the second one is hostage negotiation. Hostage negotiation really means self-forgiveness and forgiveness for other people. The really powerful thing about forgiveness is that it lightens the load. When you finally just kind of like let something go, it lightens the load on your nervous system big time. So in terms of how that is going to relate for in the Ultimate Energy Edge program and eating, it's forgiveness for all the fucking shit eating that you did in the past. Or if you screw up, just forgive. Like, it's okay. I don't intentionally eat and then forgive, but do you know what I mean? Just if it happens, forgive yourself. And some of this stuff that I like teaching things which you can leverage and use for yourself, because I like new things, so I don't like repeating myself over and over again. I don't mind, but if you've got a question, so don't ever think that's going to stop me answering your question. But I want to take you all to the next level all the time. So I don't like staying at the same level. So I want you to learn this stuff so that you can use it and become your own therapist in a way. By the way, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychotherapist, and I'm not really a coach either. But you can use these tools for yourself, and I think they work for me. So hostage negotiation, the hostage is yourself or anyone you've wrapped up in judgment. Oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're so this. It's basically the friendly fire that you're giving yourself. Negotiation takes time. You've got to it doesn't just happen the first time. So I think a lot of the times with all the self-help stuff out there, it's like, oh, I'm thinking this way, I shouldn't be thinking this way. But then you're shooting on yourself, aren't you? Because you're then judging yourself again. So it takes time, and just be patient with it. And then the third thing is to know who you are and why you're here. So know who you are, why you're here, know your mission, because then you can rise above some of the bullshit as well. One of my favorite things recently is, Elise, I hate your blue hair. You know, Elise is like, I don't have blue hair, and I'm not bothered by your judgment of me because it's not true. Because she knows she doesn't have blue hair. But we do get maybe a little bit triggered when someone says, you're a bit fat, or you're not a very good business person, or you're not a good father, or you're not a good mother. Oh, you're not trustworthy. Oh, God. It's so, it's like triggering my story about myself. So then I feel a certain way. But if you knew that you didn't have blue hair and you knew you were a great father and you knew you were a great business person and you knew these things about you, because who the hell am I to say, I hate your blue hair or I hate the way you are, because I don't know anything about you really. Does it make sense? Am I going too fast? Okay, cool. It's weird not having like the immediate feedback from everyone. Okay, cool. So hopefully on your phone now, if you've still got that Menti thing, you can type into there and it will show up on the screen. That's the idea. So what's going well? What's going well? We've already heard a few things, so just type them up. What's going well, energy-wise, health-wise, fitness-wise, life-wise, business-wise, anything that's related to perhaps some of the work that you've been doing. Is it working? Yes, it is. Great. Nice. I feel more taut. Yeah, nice. Exercise, intent. Cool. Great. The reason that we always have this at the start is because it's very easy for us as entrepreneurs to end up in the gap of where, if anyone's ever heard of the gap in the gain, the gap of where we want to be. And like, I'm looking at this gap and it feels really daunting and shit. But if I look back at the gain that I've had, then it fills me a bit more with confidence. So that's why that's the psychology behind just focusing on what's going well. Okay. Can you unmute for this bit? Because I just want to ask some questions and I don't want to feel like I'm just blurting out talking. So does anyone want to give me a take on what's going on the screen here? State of being. Ben, do you wanna have a crack at it?
Well, I feel it's cheating. We spoke about it the other day, didn't we?
That's
But
all right.
maybe it's okay. All right. So basically, essentially at the top of you basically got like upstream and downstream. So downstream is your kind of outcomes, right? So it might be you put on £3, or you did a really good business deal, or you won a new contract, or you fell out with your friend or something. And then as you sort of go further up the river, you have your actions, which is like stuff you did to induce that outcome. So eating too much, saying something horrible, having good conversations, doing some business development stuff, whatever. And then your feelings, which is like, I felt inspired, or I felt angry, or I felt sad. And then your thoughts, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly deeper version of that psychological state. And then you have your being, which is like the furthest upstream, which is, I guess, a bit more who you are as a person, what your mission is. Yeah, it's the deepest state of being. Maybe it's like the kind of furthest away from results, but governs everything that happens downstream. Probably, but
yeah, nice. No, that was great. Did everyone kind of follow that? Yeah. By the way, the thing that majorly clicked for me was the state of being thing, because this is, I said just now, like, you can have all the mindset stuff and you can have all of the thinking tools, but who's ever been in that state where they know they should be thinking a certain way and they're not thinking a certain way? Has anyone ever? Yeah.
Yep.
When I experienced like this understanding of the state of being, it was like, oh yeah, because I'm just being somebody who doesn't do that. So the classic example that I always use when people walked into the gym was they would walk in and they'd be like, Ben, I am not a fitness person. I was like, well, you're about to start a fitness transformation and you're joining a gym. So it would really be useful for you to become a fitness person. And I started using that language before I understood this. And there were people who got it and they became fitness people and they stuck at it and they became people who just did that and that was just normal for them. Whereas some people, they stayed in the non-fitness person's side and they were like cake people, they were wine people, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not useful. It's not good or bad. It's just not. That's why I put useful, non-useful on there, because if I say good or bad, it's a judgment. I'm being. Who's ever said I'm being good with my nutrition?
Mm.
Yeah, I'm being good. I'm being good for now. How about just let's get rid of the judgment? There's too much judgment around our food, especially around our food. It's very triggering to talk about it. So, the question instead is, who am I being? Elise, do you want to say anything on that? Because you've obviously been. We had one conversation on this, and then it kind of shifted you, right?
And you fixed me. I was like saying to Ben how I am a sugar addict, and I just I have very good. I don't even have self-control around like alcohol and stuff like that. It doesn't make me feel good, so I don't drink much of it. And I was like, why can't I have that with sugar? And then we spoke about like I am a sugar person, and I was saying I just want to be someone who can go to a birthday party and have some cake, but then not feel like I want to have cake every single day the whole week and biscuits and this. And so then I literally just found myself, we hadn't even started the process. As I went into a shop, I eat a lot out of boredom, and on a long journey we'll get some chocolate to Yes, sorry. And so I found myself sort of going to reach for it out of habit. And then I started going, I am not someone who eats sugar in the week on a weekday. And it's not even like rules around it, because I don't say to myself, you can't drink alcohol. If I wanted to and I was going out tonight, I would have something, but I just am getting a better balance of, no, I don't need that now. I don't want it. And it's actually just reframing the way I feel about it, to be honest.
And if you want to have an eating disorder, put rules around your food. Yeah. And it's easy, right? Like, because it's just not who I'm being.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any significant effort.
Yeah, no, it's taken a lot of the food noise out of my life at the moment, to be honest.
Amazing. Does anyone like following rules, by the way? No, fuck no. I don't. Hate it.
Not really. Not really.
No,
but,
the reason I made a terrible soldier was because I hated authority and following rules. Ollie, have you got anything you want to say on that, or reflections? And
yeah, it's interesting what you said about not putting rules in place, because unfortunately that's something that I do have to put in place around carbohydrates and proteins and things like that, just to manage blood sugar and stop my feet falling off and things like that. So I'd like to get to that place.
Yeah.
I think that's a development for me rather than something I can put in place right now.
Yeah, I think it's not don't put rules in place, put guidelines.
Yeah.
The reason there's a word there which says creation. You are creating with your words all the time. So like a really great example is like this water bottle started with somebody speaking it into existence. They were like, wouldn't it be great if we had this vessel that would carry our water around? And then they're speaking it, and then they tried a few things, and then they came up with this. Amazing, right? And we create everything with our words. Everything, like, so we literally have to think about it. Like in one of the books I read, it says it's like blocks coming out of your mouth. I am a sugar person. You are creating it. Elise tells me that. I believe her. I tell my friends that, oh, Elise, she loves sugar. She's a sugar person. When Elise comes around for dinner, what are we going to give her? All of the sweet things. Have some chocolate, Elise. You're a sugar person, aren't you? Yes, I am a sugar person. But radical ownership, radical responsibility is owning those blocks, those things that you're saying, like truly, truly owning it. Perhaps for the first time you ever, you know, and it was a big shift for me about a year or two ago when I first figured this out. Well, learned it. I didn't say figured it out. Well, that's smart. Sarah, is this like anything you've ever experienced before?
So I've heard of the thinking, feeling, doing, like create the results.
Yeah, that's sort of where it stops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. I've kind of thought about the being side of it, but probably a bit less. So I kind of know, like, if you think positively, then you'll feel positively, you'll do positive things and you'll get a positive result. Whereas if you think negative, you'll feel negative.
Yeah, I think that's the simplicity, that thinking, sorry to interrupt, but that really, like, it didn't work for me. Because if it worked, I'd be the most positive person in the world. It just didn't work because I wasn't being that person.
Yeah, I think the being's fundamental. Yeah. So, like, when you said, like, I'm a fitness person, like, I've been going to the gym like 3 times a week for like a year and a half. And would I label myself as a fitness person? I don't know. I probably would say I go to the gym a lot, but I
Yeah,
probably
it's
wouldn't
different,
say
isn't
I'm
it?
a fitness person. Yeah.
Yeah. When I did the Ironman, I had to be an Ironman before I crossed the line. And I figured that out. Before I knew this, I figured that out quite a while back because it was like, well, what would an Ironman do? What would an Ironman do? He'd go to bed, wouldn't he? He wouldn't stay up late watching TV. He'd be going to bed because he got trained the next day. He'd be eating the, you know, even I said it then, eating the right things, eating the useful things. It's all the other stuff, which is what we're going to come into later is the Super Six. It's like okay, nutrition is a big factor for weight loss and energy, but there is, for energy, for well-being, there's 6 components to that. It's not just gym, it's not just movement, it's not just nutrition. So yeah, you start thinking about all the other stuff when you start being that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because I'd probably say I'm going to the gym a lot, but I'm not fit. So I'd be thinking I'm not a fit person.
Yeah,
even
because so I go
Yeah.
to the gym, but I'm not a fitness person.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone got any questions on this? Does everyone get that creation thing? That's really key with this. It's like you can see it with your state of being, it creates the result at the end of the river. So it's literally creation in motion. You are creators without getting too spiritual about it for now. Cool. All right. So then my next question is who are you being? What's your current state of being? So just kind of tune into yourself right now and think about who you're being today, or maybe, you know, this week that's gone, this week. What's your current state of being? And it might be, again, it's not good or bad. It's just useful or non-useful because we're not judging. We're just labeling it. So we can label it and then we can see like, well, what's the outcome that kind of produces for me? What's the result? If I'm being excited or I'm being interested, that's probably quite useful. If I'm being a bit meh, what's the result that's coming from being a bit meh? What and ultimately what if curious, nice, reflective. I don't know if does this only allow you to put in one thing? Probably does, doesn't it? Feel free to unmute and talk about it. Like what maybe are some unuseful things that you've perhaps noticed as I'm starting to say this?
Something I noticed that I was doing, which I feel like I've fixed now, is that I was putting my future self on a pedestal. So when I think about the results that I want, and I was going, that girl is going to be so good. She's going to be so that, as if like she will have done so well. And then I thought, And I was literally, while I was working out, I thought, hang on a minute, for that girl to be like that, I am doing the work, like me
Yeah. It's
now.
actually you.
I'm
It's
eating
actually you
well.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That girl, if we're talking about them as two separate persons, wakes up feeling fitter, healthier, and actually I'm the one I should be grateful for, because it's only me that can create that girl. So it's actually made me a little bit what you said earlier about being kind to yourself. Every night I'm going like, well done, you did so well today. Your future self is going to be so grateful of what you're doing now, and it's actually making me feel more like part of the process rather than just this thing that I want someone to give to me, if that makes sense. Yeah. 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 Well, if you're not doing anything about it, it feels like so, as in like this unattainable result. Whereas now I'm like, if I keep doing this, those results will come. It's that simple. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing now. Yeah.
All right, I'm back. That was good. Phew. Can you hear me? Awesome. Okay. So that's current state of being. So we're going to keep tuning into what that current state of being is. And it's something that it's really just useful to ask yourself, especially if there's a result that's occurring in your life. And again, this applies in business, in relationships, everywhere, really. Who am I being right now? And how can I own it? How do I get to own it? Because if I get to own it, then I can actually influence it, rather than kind of what I used to do was just blame everything that was going on in the world. What do you specifically want to achieve over the next 6 months? It's just so I know most of what your goals are, but I think it'd be useful just to see them up there so everyone can see. Fat loss fitness, yeah. Stamina. Cool. A glucose control. Okay, nice. Great. Who's stamina and fitness? Yeah. Ollie, nice. Okay, fab. Thanks for that. And how committed do you feel to that goal right now? It should be a little multimeter thing, right? Yeah, be honest with that. How do you feel about that commitment? Good. All right. Pretty strong. Unmute yourself and tell me, how will we know if you were genuinely committed to your goal or not at the end of 6 weeks? How will we know for sure?
If you've achieved it.
That's it, right? It's really the only way. That's it. There's nothing else. Now, I bet we could all list 100 reasons why you might not achieve it. Anyone want to throw some at me? Why might you not achieve your goal?
Find it hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Lack of focus.
I didn't focus enough. Yeah.
Lack of preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much work.
I think maybe something about self-belief. I think there's something in my mind where I know I've failed at this so many times before.
Yeah.
I think trying to get myself into the mindset where this time is the time. And
that's a really good point. And well, Ben, I'm getting some major feedback on your. Yeah, thanks. You're gonna have to mute yourself. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? So it's quite a triggering question. Well, it was for me anyway. I don't know how you feel about it, but for me it was quite triggering. Quite like, what do you mean? I've tried this before. And all of the stuff that you've mentioned, really, they're obstacles and challenges, and they're not invalid. They are valid, but you'll only know if you were committed enough by the end of the 6 weeks, because you'll have your goal and you'll have overcome those challenges. And perhaps for Ben, that's like self-belief. Well, that's his challenge. That's the thing that he's going to have to work on the most. Perhaps for someone else, it's the commitment and the accountability. Does that make sense? Or I've got to overcome this. I've got to overcome something like that. Does anyone have any questions on that? Because I know that triggered me anyway when I first had that question thrown to me.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that question develops each week. It's very easy at the moment to kind of go, yes,
Yeah, good point.
committed.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, because you're going to have ups and downs and challenges. But that's what these calls are for as well, and AI Benji, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where are we not changing? So this is somebody. Yeah, so the answer is our own result, really. And maybe you don't get exactly the result that you were hoping for, but if you've made progress, you'll know how committed you were. This is one of the most unbelievable transformations we had. I don't know if you can see that, but she got off antidepressants. She had less anxiety, less depression, more confidence, no heartburn, no IBS, more energy, better role model for her kids and more positive. She dropped 6.9 kilos and 11.5% body fat in 6 weeks. It was amazing. And that she was just so committed. Her commitment was amazing. She really went for it. So it's exciting what happens when you commit. And partly Ollie and like Ben, kind of probably everyone, it's really about keeping our word. And when we don't, and you're human, so there are going to be times where you screw it up, the accountability to make it okay again, make it like correct. Because the reason perhaps we need rules, and the reason we need like to be quite harsh on ourselves, like sticking a rule in is quite harsh, isn't it? It's because we don't really trust ourselves. So this is really about learning to trust yourself. And how do you build the trust with yourself, like so that when you say something, it happens. So you again, this is not just fitness and nutrition. It's like everywhere else. When you say something, even if it's just a really small thing to your kids or whatever, yeah, I'll come and do that in a sec. Like, make sure you do it, because you're just building trust with yourself all the time. And that's, imagine everyone just kept their word in the world. It would be unbelievable. Like, we get let down quite often by everyone. So I learned that, and I try and practice that as best I can. And when I fuck it up, which happens, I always make sure I keep myself accountable. Okay, right, into wellness. I'm gonna start flying through now. So the wellness paradigm, this was something that I learnt, which I thought was really useful, and I kind of gamified it. So I'm creating a little quiz so you can actually get a specific score. And for now, we've just kind of done a bit of self-grading on the Super 6, which are those things there: move, nourish, connect, protect, think, recover. So those are the Super 6. And you're gonna, there's some specific things within each of those. And I found there's 5 points within each Super 6, which makes 30 points total. On the left, you die prematurely. If your well-being gets really, really low, you die. And before you die, you get signs, symptoms, and disability. Most people are in the neutral point, where we're not really ill and we're not really well either. It's just a bit kind of meh. And obviously on the right, you start building awareness, you start learning about the Super 6, you educate yourself, you grow, and it feels great. And you're probably never going to be perfectly up at 30. I'm often like kind of round here. But I like a little quarterly check-in with this, just to make sure that you know, I forget stuff. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I will forget things. Certain habits will drop off for whatever reason, and I'll keep checking in. And every time I keep checking in, it's like that incremental gain. And sometimes they're quite major gains. Like I stopped drinking coffee this year, which is it's mental. If you knew me from before, it's actually a bit embarrassing. I've got 3 coffee machines, a filter, a press, a mocha pot. Like I've got all the ways of making coffee you could possibly think of, and it's ridiculous. But I would rely on coffee a lot, caffeine, and just to get me through the day. And then I sort of, it would feel like it got out of control, and then I'd sort of stop it for a bit, and then I'd back on it. And this year I've managed to stop it completely, and that's kind of partly through just checking in all the time and making these commitments. So yeah, so does that sort of make sense to everyone? Just give me a thumbs up on that one. Yeah, any questions? Just unmute yourself if you do. So grade yourself. I'm going to send you a specific quiz where you can get an actual score, but just grade yourself now, so we can sort of see the group and where you feel strong, where you feel weak, and then just so I kind of know where to tailor these future kind of sessions. Move is obviously how you're moving in general throughout the day, week, not just your exercise, not just gym, quality of movement. Nourish, it's not just nutrition, but hydration, which is part of nutrition. But what else is nourish? Variety. I think sunlight is in protect. So protect is one that often people have questions around. Protect is, am I protecting myself from the stresses of everyday life? So obviously we're on computers right now. How do we like reduce the impact of being on a computer? I'm standing up at my desk right now, so I get an extra point. I think Ollie's got a standing desk right now. You get an extra point, Ollie. Just gets you moving a bit more. Okay, cool. All right, that's great. Okay. Is that everyone submitted? Okay, so protect is probably one of the lowest ones. Yeah, so the other things around protect are like chemicals in the household and like how much makeup we wear. And obviously Ben wears a lot of makeup. So you have to just be careful of that, Ben. Yeah, because all that stuff kind of impacts, it stresses our nervous system out a little bit. And when we're a bit stressed in our nervous system, it causes inflammation, and sometimes it just causes more stress in our bodies. So protecting ourselves against things is useful. Cool. And then connect. Yeah, that's interesting as well. So connection is a big one for entrepreneurs, right? Hence the camps. Okay, great. Okay, issues. So specific issues you feel like you have right now. 3 to 5 words. Things that you might not have any, which is fine because you've only just started. And bad sleep. So sleep would be recover in the recovery section. Who's that? Just so I know. Elise. Okay. What do you feel like that's what's the cause of that, Elise, do you think? You can unmute.
I don't know, because my sleep was relatively good before. I don't sleep a lot, but I normally sleep well. But the last 3 nights, I am so wired when I get into bed. I don't know if it's like I asked ChatGPT about it, and they said it might just be a stage of like fat burning that I'm at.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm.
My top things for sleep is to make sure you don't eat past 8 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I because I've got a toddler, I have meals at 5.
And then tech off kind of after 8 as well.
Yep.
Preferably earlier if you can. Cool, like if you can, like a cool sleeping room.
Yeah.
I've got some other bits. Is that what you do all of that stuff anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it might just be a little phase.
Mhm.
I just feel a little bit wired. Maybe I've got
Okay.
too much energy.
Get back to your sugar crashes.
Yeah.
Okay, unconscious eating. Who is that? Probably everyone, right?
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I don't know if I'm still giving loads of feedback, but that's me. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a bit more about that, Ben.
I guess it was a bit like what you said earlier, Elise. We just like unconsciously grabbing stuff from the shelves, and it's like you kind of out of the house doing something, and then you're in the shop. Suddenly, it's in your hand. Then you've paid for it. You got it home, and then without even thinking, you're like,
Okay.
I've just smashed a whole bag of Maltesers without even really thinking about it. Now I feel
Specifically Maltesers. Okay, so is it usually when you're out shopping?
It can be kind of any time, really. Like I try not to keep any stuff in the house, but like if I'll go out for a walk, I'll just sort of, between meetings or something, I might just meander back by the corner shop or something,
Yeah.
and then it's too late. It's just like unconsciously, it's just inside of me now.
Okay, cool. So my challenge to you and to anybody else who has a similar thing like the dark chocolate habit is to mindfully go for that walk and make a commitment that you are going for the walk and that is not going to happen. It sounds really simple, but it's just one of them. It's just being mindful of what you're up to. Who was the chocolate person? And does Ben, would that be useful? And Sarah, would that be useful? Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
hard though to not have it, like, because I've got into the habit of having a bit every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to break the habit. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Are you a chocolate person?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm
Okay,
a Dutch.
well then, so again, like actually, who are you being, which is making that an issue? Who are you being if you would describe a state of being? And everyone can think of that for themselves as well. Like, who am I being for the issue that I've written down here?
Yeah, like heavier than I want to be, because I'm sure the chocolate is contributing to it.
Well, that's who you'll be. That's more of like a result that you have.
Okay.
Like the result is that you're heavier than you want to be.
Mm.
But
Okay.
what's the state of being that is causing the chocolate habit? For me, it would be I'm a chocolate person. I'd be like I'm a chocolate person, and I'm identifying as a chocolate person. It might not be that for you, but or for Elise, it was I am a sugar person, and she wasn't really bothered about the chocolate. It was the sugar. Does it
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. It would have to be chocolate. That chocolate's the only thing I eat. I don't eat other sugar stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing that's useful on this is when you have these. So eventually, I want to get to helping you create a declaration, which I think everyone's probably heard me state mine. Sarah, have you heard mine?
Yeah, we did it on our intro call. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are commitments. And they're creations. It's not a backward-looking report. Because if I was being like really critical, I could definitely find a time where maybe that I did some small talk or I worried about something small. It's not an untruth, but it's an aspiration as well. Does that make sense? So there is some more work to be done. And if you want to do the work on it yourself, there's a lady called Byron Katie who you can look her up on YouTube and watch some of her stuff. And that is like a step towards doing some of the work, or you can book me for a one-to-one session if you do it with me. But yeah, there's stuff you can do on your own, which will help you kind of unpick the story because it feels so true. Does it make sense? Like
Yeah.
it feels really true that you are a chocolate person, and to say you're not is like, well, I'm just gaslighting myself here. This is bullshit. But you have to kind of commit to it and then try and practice it and prove it. So for Ben, it will be like a commitment to being, I am a conscious eater, because at the moment he's like, I'm an unconscious eater. That's the state of being. and and as you heard him talk, he's like, I just suddenly end up with food in my mouth, and do you know what I mean? It was like, it's not my fault because I'm an unconscious eater. It's like cake people go, it's not my fault that I eat cake because I'm a cake person.
Mm.
But you create the cake person. So it's like, how do I create myself to be something other than a chocolate person?
Which is interesting because earlier in life, I never was. I didn't have any chocolate in the house, never even wanted it, never even thought about it.
So the
It's
truth
only-
is you're not. So there's the truth.
Mm.
There's your truth. The truth is you're not really a chocolate person. Just became.
I became one.
You became. Well, you kind of started to believe it. It's not really true, which is why you don't. Which is why you're out of alignment, and why you kind of feel that it's not really you, and it's not useful to be like that. It's a mind bender. It's not going to happen in one go. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've massively reduced the amount of eating over the last 2 days. And it's only
Great.
been like, actually, that's a quick question. Like raw chocolate,
Yeah.
where it's coconut sugar and cacao powder
Yeah.
in it, butter in it. I'm sure, obviously, that's still a no-go because it's not on your list of
Yeah.
things. I assume it's still better than normal chocolate, which is full of sugar.
Yeah, so dark chocolate is definitely going to be better. And I do have dark chocolate, like dark chocolate. And I like it. And it's not an issue for me. And I like cacao. Like I like bitter with no sugar in it.
Well,
Dark cacao. But I am a chocolate person. But I'm not really a sugar person. True chocolate is just cacao, basically. Yeah.
yeah.
I am conscious of the time. Ollie, go for it.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. You said I'm conscious of the time at the exact moment that I have to jump off to join at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine. Cheers.
So-
Cheers, Ollie.
I do apologise. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
I've
You're
got a
welcome.
12 o'clock
Thanks,
call
Ollie.
as well. Sorry, I need to hop off too.
Yeah. If you need to go, go. I've got a few
Thank-
more bits, but it's not, we've covered the bulk of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Lots of love. All right. Any other reflections, guys? You got me now. You got me 2-1. This is great. Do you want to challenge? Like, please challenge me on some of this because I forget how much I sometimes just kind of rattle through it and where I've come from. Sometimes I forget to be empathetic to where I was and where you might be. You're happy? You've both experienced all this now, haven't you? So, okay, sweet. Okay, a couple of questions. It is possible to outtrain a bad diet. Yes, it's possible. No fucking idea. Not possible. Oh, I just realized I used the word bad there, didn't I? Bad diet. Okay, it is not possible. Not really. I should have said a non-useful diet, really. There has been one time where I out exercised what I was eating, and that was during the very end of the triathlon training. But that was ridiculous, and you can't maintain that. And it wasn't really it was still a pretty good diet. It was still a useful diet. It was whole foods, and it wasn't junk food. I think if I had been eating the junk food and the kind of stuff that would inflame my body, then I would have probably just got more injured. So, yeah. Does that make sense to everyone? Why does how we nourish matter so much? I've already given hopefully all of these away. Yeah, reduces inflammation, improves gut health. Yeah. All of the above. So it really impacts us on on all of the levels. Thank you. I haven't talked about this, but the weight loss traps. So if we're trying to lose weight, there are some things to really avoid. What might we need to avoid? Starving ourselves, feeling lightheaded, zero carbs, low fat food, calorie counting, tracking portions, relying on discipline, drinking enough water. Things we are avoiding. Boom. Well done, everybody. Good job. Except for one thing. I am going to say you do not need to count calories, and it can be a trap sometimes because often you can get quite hung up over it. So I put tracking portions ahead of counting calories. If someone's tracking their portions and they're doing it really well and they're still not seeing results, then maybe I would suggest counting the calories and being a bit more disciplined around that. But yeah, awesome. The most important thing for weight loss is, if you were to pick one, obviously they're all important, but if we were to pick one to be a bit biased over, which one are you going to go for? Nourish. Yep. The answer is nourish. Correct. And protein. What role does protein play? Because obviously there's quite an emphasis on protein in the program. So it actually, to be honest, plays a lot more roles than what I've given it to here. But yeah, build lean muscle is one of them. There is another. So if you were going to pick another one, which would you pick? At least you have already experienced this. Yeah. So protein helps you build lean muscle, yes, and lean muscle helps you metabolize your fat. So that's why we want to do that, and that's why it's a priority. It also stops the sugar cravings a bit. It helps you feel satiated and full, so you don't reach for the sugar. It's not a fuel source. However, if your carbs and your fat levels are really low, your body will metabolize your muscle, and your muscle is protein. So it doesn't really store. Protein doesn't really stay in your body and store. But it builds muscle, and your body can atrophy, and it can take that. But that's unlikely to happen to any of you guys. But it's a reason why to prioritize the protein again, really, just so you protect the lean muscle the whole time. Oh, that's giving me a thing. What should I keep in mind when using supplements? I haven't talked about supplements too much, but undoubtedly people are going to use them. This one's harder. Quality and dose matters. Yep. Quality and dose definitely matters. Don't trust the marketing. They can replace food. Natural means safe. Protein, shakes alone build muscle. They fill nutritional gaps. I'm just going to give you. So the answers are, don't trust the marketing. Quality and dose definitely matters. And they can fill nutritional gaps, but they don't replace whole foods. So I personally take a multivitamin. I always use the basically, if you're going to get supplements, just go to the Vivo Life or Vivo Sport. I can't remember which one it is. Go to their website, and their supplements are all vegan, whole foods. Like, they're as close to real foods as you're ever going to get. I really like them. I've used them for a long time. I take a multivitamin, I take a protein shake, and I take creatine, and I take a bunch of different like mushrooms, but they're kind of within they're functional mushrooms and some magics. They're in the actual protein mix that I use from there anyway, and they reduce inflammation. So they're not really a supplement. They're just you can't really go and pick reishi mushroom. Well, I've never found it. Does anyone have any if you've got any questions, just unmute yourself as we go. Supplements always usually sparks a few. Are you taking any right now, Elise and Ben? What do you take?
Yeah, so I'm taking magnesium. I squirt that in my water.
Yeah.
And then mushrooms as well, like a gummy mushroom, and a creatine.
Cool. That sounds fine. Yeah, Ben.
So I take creatine every day. I have like protein powder in my overnight oats. And actually, since the camp, I've started taking cacao with a mushroom mix. Got I think it's reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, great. The old, like maybe at another level later down the line, we can do a blood test where you can actually see like what specific supplements do I need to take. So if you're taking, was it magnesium, Elise?
Yeah.
Was that to help with sleep or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and more so just because I've been advised that because
Yeah.
of the soil that a lot of us are deficient of it.
yeah, there's so much around. There's so much kind of probably a lot of bullshit, to be quite honest. That might be true, by the way, but and I've taken all loads of supplements, and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel them, sometimes I don't. But I think the best thing is a blood test, and I've done one blood test, and I should have done another one to see if it actually worked or not, but I haven't actually done that yet. But yeah, if we're really struggling, like then with something and we're doing everything else correctly, then supplements will fill the nutritional gap at the end. But a lot of people start with supplements because there's loads of marketing around it. But yeah, it's kind of to top off the whole food thing. What defines radical responsibility? Taking charge only when things go well, blaming external circumstances for setbacks, owning everything you experience, no blame, no excuses, ignoring problems. That's probably supposed to say ignoring problems, and pushing through. Yeah, owning everything you experience, no excuses. Excuse me. When I say war in the mind, what does that refer to, do you think? To be honest.
So with my brain wants to do, well, naturally everyone's brain wants to do the easy thing.
Yeah.
As in, for me, I'd say the biggest challenge with this is food prep.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, it'd be so much easier if I could just go to the shop, and it's just so much easier to sit and going, no, this is what you want, and you got.
So which one of those answers does that kind of fall into, do you think, for you?
Oh, sorry, I completely missed that. I thought we were talking about the other one.
No, that's fine. It was useful. You can speak it if you don't want to click it. Which one did you go for, Elise?
In a battle of procrastination, perfectionism, and self-doubt.
Yeah, that is the one. I mean, all of the other stuff there, to be fair, competing with others in fitness challenges could also be a war in the mind because it's like your ego trying to do that, and I've done that. But everything else there is kind of external, whereas the inner battle is the one that's the primary battleground is the one in your mind. As soon as you win that, you're like, nothing really bothers you too much. It's a great place to be. And it keeps taking progress. The main macronutrient, I'm not even going to insult your intelligence, is protein. That's the one we're going to focus on the most. 80-20 applied to nutrition means 80% effort, 20% rest. Focus 80% on training. Eat clean 80% of the time. Yeah, that's the one. Eating clean 80%. Allow for flexibility. Meals out, whatever you need to do. The energy approach. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. So the energy edge approach to carbs, because a lot of people just completely demonize carbs. Yeah, so we want to focus on the fibrous stuff, slow digesting carbs that sustain energy. One thing that I do not have on my lists is potato, which is technically a whole food. I'm pretty sure it's not on there anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong.
ChatGPT has suggested it to me.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Again, it's not that you can't have it. It's just that it's quite easy to overdo because there is some nutritional value to it, but it's perhaps not as.
They're meant to be one of the most satiating foods, aren't they? Potatoes, and they say it's like the most, the one that'll make you feel fullest. But
I think maybe in the short term.
that's just bullshit.
Yeah, my experience is that I can easily overeat a potato.
It tastes too nice, I think, to be like
And they're
too delicious.
Yeah, and they're often like deep fried or chips, and this just comes again. It's like if you're gonna have it, just put it in your, like if you're having a roast and you're having potato, obviously you're gonna have potato. Like if you're eating my potatoes, you are anyway, because they're bloody delicious. But maybe it's just not so useful. So what I usually do is like eating more carrots, like root vegetables. They can be quite good as well to make up for that. And actually, if your protein's on, you don't really need much. You don't need so much carbs anyway, because you're going to be stuffed by all the protein. So, okay, effects of caffeine and alcohol on energy. Sometimes we think that it's going to help us, but realistically, they disrupt sleep, increase anxiety, and drain recovery. Yeah, that's it. Cheers, guys. How did you find that? Scale of 1 to 10. If it's not 10, get out.
That's good.
I'm going to stop recording so I can get to proper.